Welcome to another episode of the South Texas Power Lunch. I'm Matt Duke, your host and managing attorney with the South Texas Business Lawyers. Today's episode is with Office Furniture Liquidations, and Erik and Nan are going to share with you the secrets on how they have created a used and new office furniture store to become one of the best furniture stores in San Antonio, Texas. Now, in this episode, they're going to talk about how they have been able to listen to the voice of the customer to make sure they can meet the expectations of their customer pre-COVID, during COVID, and today with this continued success. They're going to talk about how they have built brand and reputation authority in San Antonio based upon their PR and marketing strategy, which is really, really special. You don't want to miss it. And last, but certainly not least, the one secret they're going to reveal to you is how they have gotten free PR to win all of these awards, which is something that as a small and medium-sized business owner, we need PR. And most of the time we're paying for marketing. Don't miss where they tell you the secrets on how you can get free PR, because it's something they leverage every single day. And it's been one of the catalysts to the success that they've had. This was a great conversation. I'm so excited to get to share it with you. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get to the conversation now. So thanks guys for coming out here. I'm really excited. And as I was just saying a second ago, I've been a stalker for a long time, which I didn't think I was going to say it, but I am.
Not being a weird one.
Well, you don't know that yet. We just started this podcast.
There was this one lady.
Just don't look at the comments on September 3rd. That may or may not have been me. But no, this is an exciting time for us to get to talk about what you guys are doing that I think has applications to a lot of small and medium-sized businesses. I mean, you guys have taken the used office furniture market, which some people would go, wow, snooze, and have done something really, really special. I mean, I've been a customer, this is before I started stalking y'all. I know countless people that have been a customer. You guys have won so many awards for what you do at your company. And so I'm really excited to get to talk about this. But before we get into all this amazing stuff that you're gonna talk about, let's set the stage a little bit about how two guys are running a used office furniture business, and maybe rewind it back to the days of the marketing and some of the other stuff that I know. And I'll let you take it as far as y'all want on your background and experience that led you guys to make the leap into having now a used office furniture store.
I'll do a real quick brief.
Okay.
And then we'll get into where he and I began on this journey. So my forte or beginning from high school was selling something, literally.
You're a sales guy.
And it all started with wanting money for spring break, okay? And a friend of mine and I went to a distributing company, made a deal, bought some candy, and started selling in the school for ourselves. Everybody else was doing it for a club. We did it for ourselves.
So you just went to the store, bought your own candy, and then just...
So it was a real distributor. We bought it wholesale, and that's how it got. So that gave me I was juiced at that point. It was like, I was addicted. And so then after that, I was a photographer. I thought I wanted to do photography, and I got into weddings, and that turned me off. And then I got into the t-shirt business. And so I started doing t-shirts for colleges around the state of Texas. That took off, and that put me through college. And then that led to running and building a large imprinted sportswear company in Texas, which led me to building Creative Link in 1992, late 92. I started that with a partner. My clientele, my money, founded the company, and then 10 years to about that date, sold that, started building Sales by 5, which the entire purpose there was to help companies increase sales by 5 p.m. every day.
Oh, nice.
So what I'd seen in advertising and marketing is slow, long tail, everything took forever.
Right.
Threw up a billboard and throw a holy water on each other and hope it sells, okay? Well, what ended up happening was Sales by 5's entire purpose was to make immediate change quick. Nan and I got together because of a church project.
That's right. There was a Methodist church that needed some help in growing their congregation.
Wow.
They hired me because I knew nothing about church. I mean, I knew what they looked like. I knew how to spell church. I was unchurched.
Okay.
I in my childhood, I was forcefully churched.
This is the first time I've heard of a church hiring a marketing company to get more congregants.
Well, the Methodist Church has been declining in membership since the 60s.
Yeah.
And most denominational had. So they hired me, and I hired him. And so I barely knew him. I met him. I think that was it.
Yeah, we were connected through a mutual friend.
Okay, I thought you were going to say, I was walking into the church, there's this guy right here. Hey, are you a church guy? Come on, let's go.
And so he was church.
Okay.
And this sounds really weird.
Hey, I told you these things could go on some interesting tangents. Let's keep going on it. I'm fascinated.
So he was coaching me on some, I don't remember. Do you remember?
Yeah, so we worked on growing the congregation. I gave you some language and helped decipher some of the churchese. That's
called Jesus.
That's right, Jesus. That's right. That's always the answer, by the way.
That's right.
Church, if they ever ask a question, it's Jesus.
Jesus.
And it usually goes well. But yeah, so we helped them, and then I was looking for a job, and Erik was helping connect me, but he would forget to tell me that he was connecting me to these.
So I set up 4 interviews for him, and
Didn't tell me,
and forgot to tell him about the interview. I told the client they were ready for him.
Yeah,
they were there, and he was not.
So I wasn't showing up to them, and he called me. He's like, "Hey, why aren't you showing up to these interviews?" I said, "Which interviews are you talking about? I'm not familiar with them." To which he realized that he had never told me about them. And then we talked some more, and at that point, you're just like, "Do you want to come work together?" And I said, "What am I going to do?" And he said, "I don't know. We'll figure it out." And I said, "That sounds great. Let's go do it."
That's a very
That's
true
literally
story.
what happened.
Wow.
And so I moved to San Antonio in October of 2006. And
Wow.
And so he got. Of course, we helped. It was United Methodist Church of Midland. Dramatic increases for them. And I remember one little nugget of the meeting. Marketing is fascinating in this regard because they kept saying, I said, "What do I experience if I come here?" Fellowship. And I go, "What's that?" And then they said some other church words.
Yeah.
And I said, "What's that? What's that? What's that?" And the whole point of it was the community that they were talking to didn't understand all these words that they were using that were very church-y words.
The church people understood it.
Yep.
But they were looking for the not church people, and those people did not understand it.
That's right. They're talking to the audience that's sitting in, they're preaching to the choir and not to the pews, if we take another little church analogy.
So we fixed that, and it made a giant difference with that company, and we're both still friends with.
And by that company, that's the company of Jesus.
Hey, I'm glad you said it. I was like, well, you know what? It was a company for the Lord, but
we helped TMI, Texas former.
There you go. I was a teacher at TMI.
Formerly go from Texas Military Institute
to the
TMI,
Episcopal, which I remember being a part of that when they were moving. I was just a lowly admissions counselor at TMI before, I put on the monkey suit here. But yeah, it's a great school.
So there's a lot of different things that we were able to do there, and then use those experiences as well as the coaching with a lot of people. We got to do Fortune Small Business Growth Conferences twice a year for many years, and learn and work with. I mean, one day we sat next to Bob Bloom all day long.
That's right.
Passed ideas back and forth.
He was one of the guys that basically said, Windstream is not going to be T-Mobile. Go ahead and flip the switch tomorrow. And so they worked on that. That was a big deal at the time.
Right.
To make a huge national change. And he was just like, this needs to happen. And T-Mobile did it.
Right.
So,
we worked with Doug Hall for years on projects from Eureka Ranch with everybody from Johnson & Johnson to big, little projects, big projects, stuff like that. So we got a really unique working relationship with each other and played off of each other's strengths. So that's kind of the background. And then Sales by Five was accidentally led into this business, quite honestly.
Really?
In 2014, I went to sell all my office furniture. It had a nice place at across from Papados on 410, and I went to sell all of it, and it was crazy easy. I put flyers. Listen to how technical this marketing was. This was badass. Can you say ass?
You can say ass. Evidently, you've said it 3 times now.
Okay, so I put flyers on the restroom door.
Yeah.
At 10:30 in the morning. And everybody's got to go to the bathroom between 10:30 and 12. Okay, everybody.
Spoken like a true salesperson right there. Even observing our bowel movements. They're always watching those marketers.
So
you're going to think about that tomorrow between 10:30 and 12.
So
son of a, he's right.
I put the flyers on the door, every women's, men's, and then all 6 floors. And sure enough, suits were showing up before I got back to my office with the tape.
Yeah.
I ran out of tape.
Yeah.
They were at my door. And so they let them in, and they bought $8,000 of my assets in a few hours. And I was home by 2:30 that day. And I was like, I was high. I got like this was like a super high for me, because we were used to, Don and I were doing consultative sales that were, some things were by 5 p.m. that day, but other things were 6 months out.
Sure.
When you're changing a corporate culture,
That's right.
and changing CEO's mentality, and as well as the rest of the company, it takes a while. So it was instant gratification. It was fun, and I was dealing with the C-levels that I was already dealing with. So it was, and that led to more, and then bigger, and grew, and then Nan joined in. I softly recruited him for a while. We were talking he was at A&M, the marketing director at A&M at that point.
Okay.
And we were talking every day about the business, and it was just growing, and it was at one of those points where I was like, I needed help for a long time, and I knew I needed his help because of his strengths are completely different than some of mine.
Mm-hmm.
We overlap in a few different areas that complement each other, but they were very different.
Well, I didn't plan on asking you all this, but here's something, I deal with a lot of small, medium-sized business, a lot of business partners. And I mean, you guys talk about a relationship, and I'll tell you, I do a lot of business divorce, which is partners that are friends go into business and then realize they are great friends, horrible business partners, right? But you guys have a friendship that I mean, it's clearly evident there, and understand each other from a business standpoint. What do you think has been are there some factors there that you think have allowed you guys to be resilient through what we're going to talk about in COVID and other things, which businesses are stressful, sales don't pan out, but you've had a long lasting friendship and a business partnership. Why do you think that is?
I'd say that there's a high level of mutual respect between the two of us. That is just a baseline. We've never agreed upon it, but it's just how we treat one another in a very kind and respectful way. I think it's the same that you would expect in a personal marriage, right? Where you're already anticipating the best of that other person.
Yeah.
Right. That helps a lot in every relationship.
Sure.
Where somebody says something, you're going to go, well, I could take that negatively, or I could take that positively. Let me go ahead and lean to the positive on all of them, and let that person disprove me. And I think that we've spoken to each other that way. We've treated each other that way for 16, 17 years.
I went to Alabama. I can't do that math. So you're on your own.
So for us, I think that is a strong framework of that. We also recognize that Erik has competencies that I struggle in, and vice versa. And so we really will lean on each other to figure out situations if they get hairy or just need to hear one another out. Sure.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's clear that, it works. I mean, in my experience, a lot of times when there's two, or three, and they've been friends and that sort of things, there's lines and it's very difficult to do. So congratulations on that. I mean, I just think it's something.
I want to add one thing. I think a big factor that, again, he and I haven't talked about is, first of all, I want to change. I want to be better and better and better and better.
Mm-hmm.
And he's helped me do that. So I've seen it. I'll make it as simple as this. I'll tell you, this is the dumbest but coolest example. It's the braided belt story. and here's the thing, if it can start.
I wore one of those in the 90s.
Okay. That's the problem. I wore it in 2007 or 8.
Oh, okay.
So let's make it really simple. In 2008, I come into the office one day, and I probably had, a decent outfit on or whatever else, and I was wearing a braided belt. And he says to me,
"What's that?"
And I said, "What's what?" And he says, "What's that?" And I said, "That's a belt." And he goes, "No, it's a braided belt." "Why do you have that?" And so you have first of all, he had the candor to say that. Second of all, he probably didn't want me looking like an idiot.
Right.
Okay, because we were around CEOs all the time. And
sure.
We didn't need to look like idiots.
Yeah.
And so just with that nugget right there, I feel like he had permission to do that, right? Mm-hmm. And I threw the belt away and never wore it again.
That on the opposite end, I wore a lime green shirt, and we had a similar conversation. To which I got rid of the lime green shirt
years later.
Yeah. So It's mutual.
Got it.
So you go into big deals. You go into a big meeting or a big presentation, and after the presentation, you're doing an autopsy, which good to great, one
Sure.
of the most valuable books in the world. And afterwards, you do an autopsy, and he says, he can say, I feel like if you did this and use these words and maybe not use that, or you see what I mean? And you go through life like that.
That's
so
right.
he knows that I actually want to be better. I don't want to just be complacent and say, oh, I'm this way and that's the way it's going to be forever. And so if, first of all, if you want to change and be better and you've got somebody that wants you to see you better, I think that makes a big difference.
Now that you say it that way and we're kind of talking about it, I agree, because these are passionate, when two partners aren't getting along, these are passionate conversations. And it's usually about they won't do what I want them to do, right? It's my way, not that way. Well, they're going off that this is the way it should be, versus what again is really, really strong, and you can tell, just in y'all's, interaction on this, on the mutual respect, the both wanting to grow, which opens up the ability for the growth of you guys and your company, which is probably what we're going to get to here, what we see, 6 days a week live, when there's that interaction that comes through. So let me get back to the furniture aspect of this. So you've got this rich depth of marketing experience and success, from high brand, high value brands, high visibility brands. I'm sure into some brands that you can mention and people wouldn't know, but had great success. And you had this experience with tracking everybody's when they go to the restroom and selling your furniture, but how do we connect that dot to our office furniture liquidators? What was the switch?
Well, office furniture liquidations is interesting. I think most people in our company we're a marketing company. We just happen to market furniture.
See, say that one more time, because I heard that before once.
We are a marketing company. First and foremost.
Yeah.
That's what we are.
We just happen to sell office furniture.
And see, we've had conversations about brand, right? And you have to know your brand and inside out, and to say it that way, which makes sense, because you go there like, well, that makes sense to me. If you check out any of what you guys do on a daily basis, that makes sense. But it starts to get people to understand why y'all are so different by just the way you just described your brand right there.
Well, and it taps into every single thing. So he and I, we have a joke internally that we talk about every day. So I tell him today multiple times, I go, I need you to get over here and argue with me about this. And our employees hear this all the time. Our team is hearing this constantly. And if the price is wrong, so here's our brand, okay? Our brand is, if I'm selling this chair that I'm sitting in right now and it's not the right price, he's going to say something. If I priced it and it's not low enough to fit our brand, okay? Because the value has got to be extreme. And so that's a core of our company. So he'll fight for it, but he doesn't have to literally fight for it.
Right.
He triggers it and it's like, I'm not doing my job properly. I need to fix this. And vice versa. Sometimes we'll have Herman Miller stuff and Knoll, collectible, unbelievable stuff, and I'll think it's awful. And it's just not pretty or whatever.
Right.
But some collector in Dippinsatch, Arkansas really wants that piece.
Right.
And
Big fans in Arkansas.
And it's a $10,000 couch,
Yeah.
And I've got it marked for $1.79. And so you see where I'm going with this? But our brand is associated with extreme high value, and we have to work all day long.
We're fighting to maintain that with everyone. It's not that we're fighting against them; we're fighting for it because it's easy to veer off.
Well, sure. But that's the brand and culture combined that are living out on a day-to-day, right? And you need culture warriors. That's kind of what I always call them, because they hold you accountable to your culture. If you don't have those people, then you don't have a culture.
Well, when we're doing it internally, we constantly ask our team, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And then we have people that work for us that are like, we'll do the research and they're like, you guys are way off on this price. But we're learning, we're not complacent. It's not like,
it's fine. We don't ever say
there's none of that.
It's fine. If somebody comes and presents it to us that's on a team that maybe I missed it or he missed it, and they come up and go, look, we're way off because we're high or we're low. Okay, tell me, explain it to me. And they just, because they know what it looks like when we have some random customer that's going to walk through those doors. It could be a business owner, it could be a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't matter that they come in and go, why is that price that price? Right? Why? I don't understand. Why is it so high or why is it so low? Oh, that's low because it has an S on it because it's damaged right here. Okay, we spotted it.
Now, do you guys, from an internal culture, we'll get to the external stuff, but from an internal culture, how do you instill that? Is it just demonstration and, hey, lead by example, and because the example's there so all the time people know, or is it where you actually educate people towards it?
I think we wrestle with the prices, with the offers, with what we're building in front of people, and engage the rest of the team to say, what do you think?
Right.
We ask that a lot. And they're involved. They go, well, I think this, okay, why do you think that? Don't just give them, and they don't, but don't just give me an answer. I want to hear what you think, because you're out here selling to people. What do you think? Because you're going to have to say it with a straight face.
It's the old adage of, there's something wrong with my company, and go, well, go ask. There's two groups you can go ask, your employees and your customers.
Right.
They'll tell you what's wrong really quick. In fact, when you ask them, they'll be more than happy to tell you what's wrong with it.
Yep.
But if you guys, again.
Well, he doesn't have an office. I don't have an office. Okay? So
I know when I talked to you, I think you were in a closet.
That's correct.
We were having a Zoom on this, and I'm like, I think he's in a closet.
And things like that, yeah.
That's executive conference.
And there's some binders in there.
So
it smells good, though, because all the cleaners there, too.
Fabuloso, or what do you use?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
7 feet away from us are the customers.
Right.
Checking out. Where he asks them all day long, how is everything? We know how they're feeling, what's going on, if they're happy, if they're sad, what's going,
How'd you find us?
Right.
All day long. How'd you find us?
How their marriage is, things like that. We could send you customers. But anyway,
I don't do that type of law.
no, but we learn.
Yeah.
And we're hearing this all day long.
Sure.
And then if we're out on the floor, we're actually working with customers all day long.
Right.
So we're hardcore, not in silos. We never have been. I tried to have an office in Sales by 5. I tried it for a few hours.
It didn't work.
It was horrible. Felt very isolated.
Right. You're like, I'm here in this cave, and there's no one here. Hello.
And so I gave it up immediately. But where I'm going with that is the he'll be in the middle of something, I'll be in the middle of something, and then we'll have 1 minute, and we'll use that minute. And we use minutes. Like, we recently traveled to Orlando on a business conference. We used every single minute wisely. It was ridiculous. Like, we weren't trying. It was just natural. It was like discussion points, outcome, action, constant. And so we're ridiculously efficient with using that space and that time to, how can we change this? How can we modify it immediately? People, sometimes they're used to, when they come to work for us, they're used to companies going to make changes.
Right.
Well, we make change faster than any place I've ever seen in my life. So in minutes, a policy, a procedure can be changed.
That's right. Especially with really front-end employees that are paying attention. Like, this isn't working. Okay, help us understand, because it used to work.
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, the volume of people it
didn't scale.
And it didn't scale. Okay, that broke. Let's fix it.
Well, and some people take the Jim Collins good to great, right? They think, well, because of that, the 10X and all that stuff, I need my 20-mile march, and it just goes like this. I tell people all the time, like, but that's not how some businesses, that's just not the structure of some businesses. Agility in some businesses are what you need, not a manufacturing company that maybe needs the long march. It's what cadence your business needs to operate to succeed.
So earlier you mentioned COVID.
Yeah.
The pivot.
Yep.
So first of all, Nan starts in, you came over from A&M in what month of what year?
September of 2019.
So September 2019, somewhere around there. Our marketing had been decent, and it had gotten us where, and so he comes in and says, we're going to start shooting video live. I didn't say WTF, but I wanted to really loud. And he goes, and we're going to do this every day or something like this. And I'm like, why? What did I do wrong? So we start shooting, and
Erik had built up a great audience. We had like 19,000 fans at the time. So we had a good chunk of people.
19,000?
19,000
Wow.
on Facebook in 2019, which is great.
Yeah. That's really good.
And like it goes back, it started it was a marketing company.
Sure.
But so then we started doing the videos. So Nan has, first of all, it was me, and then I shot him, and we both hated it, and we were miserable. And then we realized, we both have to do this together.
Right.
So then you fast forward to March of 2020. And we've got this audience, and it's grown. And so part of his job was to dramatically increase that audience and exposure for us. And within 24 hours, some of the decisions that he had made to test things that fall of 19. Mm-hmm. So he came in and was still wearing pants for a while. It was awful. From A&M. I think he might have had a sport coat one day or something. I don't remember. But anyway, he comes in and starts doing some trials, and he kept asking me, can we do this budget? And the answer was yes to everything, every single thing he said. We need to do this, we need to do this. Yes, yes. Yes was the answer. What was the question?
Right.
So then April, whatever it was, close to April.
Yeah, March 30th,
you tell the rest of
the
this.
doors, the doors closed. We'd launched a texting platform of October, November of 19. And the texting platform was really to help encourage more reviews because we could reach out to the people that had purchased from us and ask them for a review.
Right.
Eric, I think at that point we had like 125, 135 reviews. And so we launched that texting platform in the fall. March 30th, we said, we've got to close the doors. We didn't know how you contracted the virus,
right,
or how lethal it was, or anything else, right? The news was scary and there was very little hope. So we shut the doors, said, no one can come into the store, and we don't know for how long. And we moved everybody onto the texting platform. We created some different graphics that basically, these are the top 10 chairs that people buy. Here's small desks that people buy, and kind of different price points. And we could easily share those with people. And we continue doing the live videos, wearing masks, doing what we needed to do to try to stay safe, and also keep the business going. And so that's what we did. And because everyone was at home, not knowing what was going on, viewership went like this.
So we gave them entertainment.
Right.
We didn't realize it was entertainment. We were really trying to sell something. And so then at the same time, the business pivoted in 24 hours, went to all online with the videos,
right,
and everything. But what was crazy is it was set up. Everything he had done wasn't for that purpose.
It was set up in 2019.
Existed
right.
And
by mistake.
If that wouldn't have happened, it would have been terrible. Probably.
You say by mistake, but your core purpose of the infrastructure you set up was for engagement. You just didn't realize you were going to have to use it for front-end engagement. You just thought you were using it for the backside of the engagement.
Correct.
Right. So
yeah.
I'll give that more credit than a mistake.
Fair enough.
So we're in 2020. At the beginning of it, March, right? Entertainment value. But then we get to the point of we're in here for the long haul. Yeah. At which point in time, kids are out of school, not going back to school. We realize people are not going back to work. Oh, wait, where is work and school going to happen? They need office furniture. So how did that progress, through COVID with what you had put in place, that infrastructure?
Yeah, so we just continued doing the live videos each day, we were entertaining and informing.
Right.
We knew that we were doing that. We knew that people needed to get stuff. And we had a back dock so I could send you a payment link, you pay for it, we'll roll it out the back dock. We have plenty of distance, we're outdoors. Even before COVID, it's tough to catch a virus outside. Just
right.
And so that we're just giving lots of space.
Mm-hmm.
And that gave people the opportunity from all over the city, and people were contacting us from Laredo and from the region, showing up, buying stuff because they didn't have any place else to do it. No one else had facilitated this opportunity. And so we were closed 2 months. April and May, the doors were closed. We reopened in June.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, were you selling off the dock though in April and May?
We were selling via text, so I could text.
Oh, okay.
Pay for it, come to the back dock, pick it up.
But then got it.
Yeah. Now May set a record.
May set a record.
We had record sales in May, then again in June, again in July. August was a monster. And so we just kept setting records every month at that point. And I think the big thing was he just said the reason why.
Erik did a spectacular buy of small desks, 400 of them in early August. Like, I think we're going to need these.
I actually remember that because
Yeah.
I remember seeing that of, y'all did a lot of social posting on just you could sell the sheer amount you had.
Yeah.
That was from there.
He bought an 18-wheeler load of it, brought it in, said, I think we're going to need this. People are going to need this for their homes. And the kids didn't go back to school, right? They were having to do school from home, and it was back to school time. So with our PR person, Jill, and me, we did outreach to local media, and all of them showed up.
When you say all of them, you mean...
WOAI,
Some at
KBB,
the same time.
KSAT, Ken's 5, and Univision, all of them showed up in the same week, some of them at the same time, shooting B-roll in 2 different parts of the store around one another. And then all of them ran the story multiple times throughout that week. So the rest of August looked like a Greyhound bus stop running from the counter all the way to the back wall, full of people buying small desks.
So here, I'm going to pause just for a second, because some people who may or may not, and I'm sure you've run into this too, is like, man, y'all got lucky. You had this, but that's not actually the case, because the topic I want to talk about is actually understanding your customers' expectations and meeting those. Number one, based upon what they need to have the experience they want, you were able to deliver that. Number two, the foresight to go and get an 18-wheeler full of desks, understanding the need of the customers within the community of that. That's really what this is. People can say, oh man, y'all lucked out on parts of this, but that's not really what it is when you peel it back to see all the inner workings that are on there.
And I think the DNA that gels all this with the marketing is, so when people, every once in a while you'll hear voice of the customer. You've got to listen to voice of the customer. Well, of course you do. But that's salt and pepper in the restaurant. Mm. A restaurant in the United States doesn't sell salt and pepper, but I heard they do in Europe or someplace else.
That's right. Well, you got to pay for the silverware and all the stuff.
Okay, so salt and pepper in the United States is free for now.
For now.
You can use as much as you want.
Maybe not in California. They're going to go after that one after this.
Listening to the customers, that's salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to.
Sure.
But what is more important than that for success, 10 times more predictive of the success, is having a future focus. So the future focus, what are they going to need? What are we going to need? Similar to the Christmas buyer who's going to market in June for all their Christmas buying for the retail store. They've got to know what customers are going to want or hope that they do. Now, of course, the fashion industry is completely changed because a lot of the people that can do high speed stuff are killing all the people that used to buy 6 months to a year in advance.
Right.
That's because you've got to know what's trendy, what's hot, and what's moving. So we pay a lot of attention to staples. What do people need? And then what might they want? Okay, so the future focus, what are they going to need?
No, in all of this, there's a lot of frameworks you can look at businesses, and one that comes to mind talks about, one, what's your culture? Two, strategic, what's your strategic focus? Voice of the customer, voice of the workforce, right? And then continuous improvement and those type of things and processes, which, you guys check all those boxes, which makes sense. And people are usually so much in the weeds of, this specific operation of the company, to kind of take that larger look into those type of, do I have these type of components in my business, that they miss it. Quite frankly, they just do. But going back to maybe some lessons that some of the listeners that we have could get, building a brand, right? People, at least me, I'm going to speak a little bit more for me. I am a consumer. I have, purchased from there. Number one, I trust, because of what you guys have put onto social media, my knowledge of y'all, which is, through others, right? But I have trust in what y'all are doing, the quality I can see based upon what you on social media. So I have actually purchased there. How do y'all cognitively establish, how have you purposefully established your brand? Can you talk a little bit about that? Maybe some lessons that people can use to establish their own brand based upon whether they're selling goods or services?
I think some of the things that people anticipate let's just talk about used office furniture. Some people anticipate a used office furniture store is going to be smelly, hot. You're going to be dealing with a bunch of people that you don't want to be around. And they're going to.
I got the fan blowing dust into me and get my allergies all going.
And you're hoping that you're going to find something that's not crap.
That's right.
And that they're going to follow you around like.
Not crap and not charge me a fortune, but they'll sell me the non-crap for cheap, right?
Mission based, they're all over you.
Yep.
That's right. So I think, Erik, built a great model by saying no one's on commission. We just don't do it. Good. And we tell people up front when they've never been there before, hey, just so you know, no one's on commission. We're going to say hello a few times and see if you need help, right? And then the place is super clean. It smells good. Like those types of experiences are all the things that you hate, that you don't want. It's the opposite of those things. And people tell their friends, and we ensure that, or we help support that by the reviews. That was one of the things that we were discussing. For us, reviews are wildly important. So we try to deliver an excellent experience and then ask for the review and have a tool to do so.
Right. How do you go through that? Like, because getting reviews, I'll tell you, it's tough. I mean, every single time I go to HEB, they tell me what's on the bottom of that. I have yet to ever accomplish that review, even though I've had some really great people put my groceries in my cart. The haircut that I got today, which you might not be able to tell, right? I don't do reviews. You have how many reviews?
So when I started, we had about 125. Now we've got 1,600. And
1,600.
Yeah, so we've picked up about 1,500 reviews.
So maybe some secrets there to how you do that.
So we elected to choose a texting platform. There are many.
Right.
And we use it. So you come in, you buy something, we ask you for your cell phone number, and ask you how your experience was, and you're like, oh man, this was great. I found what I needed. Price was super good. These people were extremely friendly. I just love this place. Cool. We're going to text you a review link, and we're going to do it pretty quickly.
Right.
Like minutes. Because that's the window of time that you have. If I send you with a receipt that asks you to scan a QR code or go to this link, you're not going to do it. You will not do it. But if I text you a link, the likelihood of you leaving a review dramatically increases.
Now, do you follow up that link with another one, or how does that work?
Typically not. Like that is... I'm trying not to be too aggressive with people, and I think you just have to feel them out, right? That's kind of a thing that we have elected. You can. There is a feature to do that, and you can submit that. But if you had such a great time and tell me you're going to come back again, I'm going to get you again. I'm going to text you again next time. Right.
And I'm assuming you set the expectation with the customer before they even walk out the door.
Sometimes. And most, like if somebody's like, well, why am I giving you my cell phone number? Well, we're going to text you a review link. Okay. If they're like, oh yeah, here's my mobile number, we're going to text you a review link anyway. So if they're not asking, they don't care, and they're just super happy, we're going to do that. Here's the other thing. I can't spam you because we follow actual protocol for what you're supposed to do with SMS. Okay. I can text you once and ask you this, and then it also gives you the opportunity to sign up for text updates and things, which we will do, but only if you've opted in.
Right.
Big fans of opting in.
Yeah, not opting out.
Yeah, we're not going to push you in. We will not use platforms that push you into stuff, and we're not going to sell your stuff. We're not going to sell your number. We're not going to sell your email address.
What do you think is the greatest factor of? 1,600 reviews for a used furniture store, and I keep saying it that way because I want people to realize there's magic. Used and new. But there's magic here, right? And if somebody's thinking, well, I can't get reviews, it's like, well, hold on a second. Can and won't, or don't know how, right? Or two different things.
If you choose not to invest in a platform,
right?
If you choose not to request the reviews, well, that's on you.
Sure.
You're like, I got 7 reviews and 5 of them are my family. Okay, but guess what? This is something we have to get over a hump for all the people in the city and all the people in the region that have never been to our store and that anticipate that a used office furniture store is going to suck.
That's right.
Right? So thankfully, at this point in time, we have 4.9 stars with
4.9 stars.
That's compelling. You just look at that and you're like, well, those guys are the highest rated and they've won best furniture store in multiple publications in the city. It can't be awful.
Right. I got to go check it out.
Yeah, it can't suck.
Let's talk about that though, and the awards, because those are really just validations, of what y'all are doing. What do you think are the key factors on how you get third parties? Like, this is probably going back to your experience with, Sales by 5 and Creative Link with regard to PR and everything else. How do you get the attention from media to that? Is it just what you're doing, or is it something, that relationship you have that you call? What are some things that people need to understand to be able to get some, accolades that are out there?
So I'll split that up in a few chunks. For Erik got us to 19,000 fans on Facebook. We're now at 46,000.
46,000.
So we got 46,000 fans that for whatever reason in their life, they think that office furniture is something, used office furniture and new office furniture is worth paying attention to. Wonderful.
Worth getting in their feed.
Love it. Right?
That's
so
right.
That is, we'll sell them another one if you take that.
It's IKEA. I'll just tell you right now.
So that is, with that platform, when these opportunities come up, we ask those people to vote.
Sure.
Right?
That's true.
If you're following us and you're not just some weirdo that just stalks people on the internet and you love the store and the experiences, we're going to ask you to vote for us. That's something. I want reviews. I'm going to ask you for reviews and give you a platform to do it and send you a link to do so. And those things play out. When it comes to PR, you have to have a compelling story and also understand what journalist is reporting on what. Oh, is this timely and that like it's back to school time? What does back to school time mean when nobody can go back to school? Gosh, they're going to need a place to sit and work at. Well, good news, we have that stuff.
Right.
So that's when we do the outreach. We take a look at who is reporting on that stuff, and we do it in a timely fashion. And then when they call and go, "Can we come interview you?" The answer is yes. What time do you want to meet? Because there are tons of business owners that are like, "I'm really busy. Can't get there."
Right.
And you go, "Are you insane?"
Right.
You've lost every opportunity to do that, because when you're delivering on those news stories on a regular basis, they know they can trust you and that you're going to show up and that you're going to give them a good soundbite. Guess what? They're going to have stories again in the future, and they're going to go, "Hey, we're kind of dry today, and we needed a business owner to talk about something. Are you available?" Yes.
Exactly.
I want to throw one nugget in.
Sure.
It goes back to branding and everything he just said. So what I think when somebody's trying to build a brand or they're looking at all these things, a lot of people I've seen over the years, because starting in branding in late 80s for me, okay, and early 90s. And what I've witnessed is when it's not real. So for instance, like let's say we had to dress in suits all the time or fancy. Guys,
I'm wearing Wranglers.
It doesn't fit at all with our brand.
Right.
Nor the size of our store, which is 46,000 square feet. You will die trying to walk around it all day long in those.
These would hurt.
Yeah, so
these would hurt a lot.
People ask me, why do you have these loud tennis shoes or whatever? I have reserve stash of tennis shoes in my closet, brand new, that have never been opened. Okay? It's part of our brand, but it's real. It's real because I've got to be comfortable. Because if I'm miserable, why? What am I doing to myself? So every little weird thing that we do applies to the branding of it, but it's real. And so where I'm going with that is, if you're creating, building, and you looking at your brand from a perspective, how real is it? Because if he goes out in public and starts talking to you, and it's real, it's not a facade at work. It's not one way he's here and another way he's different. And that's the same way I am. This is my personality. This is no fake on the video thing. Everything is real as it gets. If somebody handed us a script, we'd probably hand it back.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because from an authenticity, right, which you see you guys on the store, but when you meet you in real person, and I'm sure when your customers meet you in the store and it's the same, all that just gets validated and goes, wow. I mean, their experience probably goes off the charts.
Time, especially on Saturdays. Wow, you're just like you are in the video.
Yeah. Oh, we saw you on the video. I didn't know you'd be here.
Right. They think it's like the car salesman that's going, come on down, and he ain't down there. He's somewhere else.
Think about brand authenticity.
Yeah.
How many brands live their true, what they started out representing?
Right.
Okay. Does the brand manager really live that?
Right.
Okay.
Well, the reality is everybody's the brand manager, right? Every single person, including y'all that they meet, represents your brand and your culture.
And that's helped us eliminate some people from the staff that didn't belong there.
Right.
Maybe they had a negative attitude. It also helps us choose vendors. So our vendors we're really careful with. They've got to be fantastic. They've got to be able to take care of us, talk to us properly.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're picky who we work with in all areas.
Yeah.
The stuff that's brought in, the big vendor relationships, the little ones, the guy that cleans our chairs that come in, the used chairs that come in, he's spectacular. we have to make him focus because he'll talk to us all day. He's so fun to talk to. But where I'm going with that is culturally, it starts spreading. It's contagious.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so we have people that want to do business with us because we're real. And that I think is a big difference right now because you have so many people that are wanting to be something, but are they being real?
Which, a lot of people on the social media, right, their presence is only on the social media versus the fact that where they can actually meet. And when those two disconnect, people know about it. So no, I think that's a spectacular, way to think through this. Let me ask you just a couple more questions because I could talk to you guys for a long time and even be like, hey, can I ask you some feedback? But just thinking through what you guys have seen from the marketing standpoint. A lot of what we deal with is a lot of young companies startups, small businesses with aspirations to be big business at some point in time. Where should they start in examining, making sure their brand is positioned the right way? Like, where do they need to start from a brand perspective if they're just getting out?
I'll start by saying one of my favorite things to help people with in this regard is the hedgehog theory from Jim Collins, Good to Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the hedgehog theory is one that I teach my kids and have to reiterate to them. My daughter's 22, my son's 20. And so it starts at any age in any business, in any organization, in anything. And that if you look at the hedgehog concept and you realize what can I be the best at, okay, where do I have the most passion and where can I make the most profit per X,
right?
Okay, and the center of that is the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal.
We talk about BHAGs.
Happiness, whether it's your 10-year numeric goal, whatever you're wanting your BHAG to be, because some people aren't that far advanced where they really truly have a big, hairy, audacious goal.
No, they just think, I want to make a lot of money. Well, wait a minute, that's not necessarily big BHAG. They're different.
So I feel like if you center right there, because what he and I did at Sales by 5 was, there were so many people we had come in that were ready to pay us 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, whatever. And tell them finish that off for me.
Yeah, we would ask them why they're doing it, or have you done any research to find out if that already exists? That we would rather people make great decisions rather than just pay us out.
Sure.
So we could have taken money from them.
Sure.
But it would have been terrible for them.
And eventually terrible for you. Right. Because their unhappiness would have been reflected back on you, even though it had nothing to do with you.
Is it in here? Is it passion? And I'm pointing to my chest right now if you can't see this, but
there is an audio version of this. So
yeah, it's like, is it in here?
Right.
Because what is it in here in this office furniture thing for me? Besides, as a kid, I was fascinated with office supplies and offices. I just loved offices. But I don't think that's it for me. I think it's the marketing aspect of it, the people aspect of it, the wow, because we're constantly after multiple wows per day, okay? Like how many wows can we get? And what I mean by that is today, we got probably 300 or 400 sets of patio furniture in, okay?
Oh, I'm going to have to go check that one out as soon as we get off this.
It's so cheap, it's ridiculous. It's $99 for a set, okay?
2 chairs, small table, $99.
Well, there you go.
You can't find it.
Sorry, by the time y'all see this video, it's all gone.
So here's the thought. There is no competition.
Yeah,
this, okay?
No.
So it's ridiculous, and anybody could use this. So no one else has this. So it's not Office Furniture Liquidations selling against this company. None of that. And so that happens all day long, every day, that we have stuff. We were the first company in the United States to receive this corporate housing stuff today. We have couches that are brand new, that are fantastic, for $199. Okay, I'm not trying to sell you right now.
No.
But we have a full bedroom set, two bedroom apartments full of furniture type stuff that you can buy for pennies on the dollar, and it's brand new. It comes in a box.
And you're changing lives with this type of stuff too, right? Because somebody else would take this and go, ooh, nah, like you said, right? Well, it's not meeting the values. Let's just jack that up. I'll charge $900 for it. Somebody would do it. And yet you guys keep it there. You keep your Herman Miller stuff up where it needs to be. I'll give you that, right? But
it's still even less expensive than most of the stuff.
Oh, it's still even less expensive, yeah.
We have these chairs that came in from Herman Miller. He goes, why are you selling them so cheap? Everywhere else on the internet, they're 3 to 5 times this.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong.
because that's what we do.
Right.
And so I literally can, with a smile, say, that's what we do.
Right. And so that was the opportunity. One guy came in and said, I remembered you guys on Facebook. I looked it up. You guys had the stuff. I need 50 sets. 50. Okay. So 100 chairs and 50 tables.
Wow.
Just
on
got
the
it in
same
today.
day. We got it in today. 50 sets left today.
Wow.
And went to Corpus.
Yep.
Wow.
So, and that's another thing Nan's done, is he's gotten us customers from all over the state of Texas. So we've been to Lubbock in our trucks. We've been to Midland, Odessa. We've been to West,
Yeah.
what do you call it?
Edinburgh, RGV, Corpus. I mean, you name it. We've been across the state.
So when you go back to that branding that has everything to do with everything that you do, okay, it can't start without it being in here. And so the in here for me is every single day is different. We pivot. The pivoting is just insane, constantly in the company. One day you have this planned and you're doing something completely different, but you're doing it with a smile because it's everybody else is doing the same thing within our team.
And some days are just harder than others, and so you have to have this, right? You know, it has to be inside of you because there are things break.
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's
it's just life.
That's business in running your own business,
That's
right?
right.
There's people think, oh wow, you're an entrepreneur, and you're like,
super easy,
well, then
awesome every day.
You don't realize what that means.
That's right.
You know, for the people that are in it for the long haul.
That's right. So that passion internally has to be there because there are going to be those days or the weeks that it's just hard. Right, stuff's just hard, but because you have a great team and because you have a great reason for being and existing and what you're doing, it matters. It helps you endure.
Well, I wanted to thank both of y'all for coming. This has been great. I mean, we talk about narrow issues that companies are facing, but we really haven't talked about a holistic, from a culture to marketing to process and agility. We actually haven't had a conversation with such breadth about it. And congratulations to what y'all do. I'm going to probably be a customer within 24 hours based upon what you just told me yet again. I will do my review this time in order to do that. But you guys do, amazing things. And I'm sure y'all could apply that to any other business that matches your heart. And I know this one does, and you can tell on there, but I just wish y'all continued success and really thank y'all for coming on to this podcast. This is kind of a stretch for me. I didn't know if y'all were going to be able to come on or not, or want to come on or not. So it's an honor to have y'all here.
Thank you for having us.
Wow. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. We at the South Texas Business Lawyers are on a mission to educate and support and advise every small and medium-sized business and startup in South Texas. And this is the way that we get to share the stories about our community, which just is something that brings us all great joy here at the South Texas Business Lawyers. If you've got a second, leave us a comment. Let us know if we're providing value. Like us, join us on Facebook, join us on social media. Again, we are out there providing free content for you so that way you can be proactive with your legal needs. We'll see you next episode.